This is Josiah Plays Torment, Tides of Numenera. We're here in the Necropolis entrance, and we're gonna search a lot of things, apparently. Abandoned bowls, rotted fruit, incense, and other oddities fill the corridor. Tokens brought to honor the dead.
Of course.
Tokens brought to honor me? Ooh, we found a Candiru. What the fuck is this thing? Look at that! It's like a little slickin' scary worm. When placed against the wrist, this wriggling eel burrows beneath the skin and releases a powerful agent that strengthens the muscles used in hand-to-hand combat. That is a very specific agent that is released by this eel. Gives you minus training level in endurance and healing. Gives you extra damage and extra damage per effort applied. Interesting. Interesting. Who's gonna use that? Alright. He could use it. He could use it because he's got a rank in concentration, which allows him to ignore the negative effect for one item, not for two. So he could use this instead of the Berserker's Yoke, and that gives him some extra damage, a little bit more than this gives him. There's no point in anybody else using this, but I could keep this in my bag in case I need to switch out to it for the intimidation skill rank. Or I could just wear this. Just wear this and hold on to this other one just in case I need the extra intellect pool. That thing has a face and it is haunting me. Indeed. Indeed. Very much so. So I think I'll keep the Berserker's Yoke on. Being injected with a milky fluid. Huh, Nox? Milky fluid? Fills him with strength and rage. Whereas, see, if I equip the second one also, my intellect edge goes down because I can't ignore two negative effects. I can only ignore one because I only have one rank in concentration instead of two. And it's the same thing for Aligarn. And I don't want any of either of them to lose any intellect edge, so we'll just hold on to this. These green lights are part of the original architecture built into the wall itself. Green flame!
You think that's best?
What's the problem here? More shins? Thank you. This place is a gold mine.
You want it done right.
Crazy ass shit on the walls. What are these little glowing bajuga things? Why is there a disco ball just chilling right here?
Yes.
Ooh, heavenly... Look at how much money this oddity's worth. This otherworldly gem is unlike anything you've seen before, with cuts so fine that they are beyond counting. Heavenly submission, also known as a whole lot of money for me. Thousands of names scroll across the surface of this sphere. There's no indication of how they died, assuming that's what the names mean.
You bet.
So many shins, shins for me. So many
Yes.
shins, shins for free. This jar is warm to the touch and vibrating slightly. Maybe we just go ahead and leave that alone. This jar is filled with ashes, more ashes than one human body could produce. A susurrus of voices whispers from this
You're
jar
sure
every
it's
so
safe?
often. Definitely not sure it's safe.
Fine.
Wow, there's the console, huh? Pretty awesome.
Like a whisper.
These lights, bending and refracting in upon themselves, must have been brought to honor someone important. The names have been worn away by time, however. Alright, well, we're gonna mess with this thing now. Hold on a second, I need to check something. Okay. Cool. Here we go.
Yes, now.
Shimmering field obscures this pedestal. It seems to be emanating from a small device within the field. That must be the Whisper Lock. Also inside is a configuration of buttons surrounding a central dial, but with the Whisper Lock engaged, there's no way to reach them. Ah, I can use one of these as the password. Well, I know which password it actually is. It's Goonie.
Making a note.
25 XP. With a sigh, the shimmering field disintegrates into shimmering shards of light. Controls are now accessible.
I'll remember that.
5 buttons are arrayed around a central hex. An indecipherable display glows on the bottom where a 6th button would otherwise be. A number has been crudely carved into the surface of the 5 buttons. You remember the code to the first tomb? Now's the time to use it. So I can just randomly push buttons, press the hexagon in the center, press the buttons randomly, walk away, enter the code to a location you already know. You try to remember the codes to any important locations you're over. Oh, I didn't have to write down the numbers. As soon as I learned any of these numbers, I've got them here to just go to without putting in the actual number. However, first things first, I'm going to enter some other code. I'm feeling lucky. I'm just going to enter some numbers at random and see what happens. Let's try 4, 3, 5. Third hexagon lights up to reflect your selection, and 2. When the 4th hexagon illuminates, a field of energy forms around you. A tight, sucking sensation pulls at your gut, then suddenly you are somewhere else. Oh, where am I gonna be? Where will it take me? There's some kind of weird tomb. Oh look, there's like fucking shit tons of them. They're all like... Okay. What do we have here?
All right.
Console here is similar to the one in the Necropolis entrance. There are 5 buttons, each with a number carved into them. Did the memorialists carve these numbers in every tomb? But there are additional buttons as well. 6 edge buttons surrounding the carved ones are lit. Each of these has an arrow scratched into it, pointing away from the center. The small hex in the center is glowing as well. If you're interpreting, because why not make up words when you can? If you're interpreting the illuminated symbols correctly, you are currently in tomb 4352. So from here I can navigate wherever I want. That'll take me back to the start. This will take me somewhere random. I can put in a code, or I can press one of the buttons with an arrow to just move to one of the neighboring pods or containers or whatever they are. So let's walk away. And let's see what's in here.
Yes.
Mortis Dedus. The fire snake. What? The fire snake? What did we find in here? What did we just find in this crazy random tomb? The fire snake? That seems strangely familiar to me for some reason.
I'm going.
Man, whoever this was that's being memorialized in this little tomb was really fucking cool, obviously. Because their name was like mine.
I'm going.
All right, Ren, you can do this.
The fire snake. That's me. On Golden Mane. Rob, Gypsy, Dave, Craig. Yeah, all of the backers, all the names of the backers are in these fucking tombs. Like, well, backers over a certain level or whatever. And they gave me the code to the one that had mine in it.
Ready.
Make it known it was here that the interloper came to his end. May he rest in peace. O gods, may he rest in peace. Read the name plaque. Nord Ezvralak. So I'm entombed, yeah.
Let's do it.
There I am. And now, you know what? I'm going to completionism. Saito, if you wanted to play this, you'd have to completionism. I have to visit every single tomb. How many are there's thousands of them. Thousands and thousands. Every one. So, here we go. Let's get this started. Enter a code. 1 1 1 1. We'll find out how many there are. So this is going to be the next 100 hours of the playthrough. The fourth hexagon illuminates. A field of energy forms around you, and you feel the same tight sucking sensation at your gut. Ooh, look, this has different things in it. Different shaped things. They don't even look the same. Look, some of these have different weird shit in them. See, they all have different weird shit in them.
Let's go.
Dirk Henderson. Matthew Michel.
Whatever.
My character just said whatever. Road or that might have been Mac.
All
He
right.
knows I said that. Stefan Dexid Groot. Save the women, love the men. Stabbed in the heart and never woke up again. Jennifer Ambrow. Oh, you're right. Hey, Fred, come to bed. How's it going? You're right. I can't start it. I don't know if there is a 0, though. There's not a 0. 1 is the... Yeah, there is no 0. It's just 1 through 5. So 1, 1, 1, 1 is the first one. Only the highest level backers get the markers with green flame. Green flame! 1, 1, 1, 2. Here we go. We're well on our way. Well, we know there's at least 4,352 of these. So this is gonna... Whoa! There's something weird in here! Oh my god, hold on, guys. If I've just learned that some of these actually contain real encounters, I am gonna have to go through every fucking tomb. The arcane humanoid shimmers and displaces across multiple versions of itself in a blink. So quick is the motion that you almost doubt your senses. The black-clad being makes slow, deliberate movements, its eyes like dull gray jewels set into an expressionless face. You sense a malevolence caged. Its voice is deep and rich.
I am Silver. You are a fellow seeker, yes. Tantalum has sent me to learn the secrets of the valley. I can smell the desire on your skin, but not the success. I have explored many of them, and learned many things. Tantalum has said I will find secrets here. He is correct. Keep up the search and your desires will see a reward.
You know they want you to go through everyone, but there can't really... Can there really be thousands of them? Can there really be thousands? I don't remember what backer level you had to get your name in one of these things. What are you?
I am an acolyte, a seeker of knowledge, a devourer of artifacts, a stumbler on the path of truth.
His eyes shine.
An answer for the unanswerable.
Tell me what you are again?
A man split and cast, and so I seek to return, to find my way to truth. I am Silver.
Silver, huh? He seems pretty fancy. So you believe Tantalum?
Certainly. All of humanity's wisdom, and even much that is not of humanity, lies buried in this necropolis. It is only a matter of time and effort before one finds answers.
I wonder if you get an achievement for visiting all of them. Do you think there's really 4,352, or do you think there's like large swaths of them that get skipped? Tell me what you're doing here again.
Looking for the truth. My truth, not yours. I intend to find it.
What have you found in these tombs? His strange face shifts through a variety of shapes.
Truths of the old worlds reveal themselves to me. Secrets of time and reality. The shifting of particles smaller than perception allows. Undergird all. But they are not part of my truth.
Right. Okay, well, good talk, buddy. Tell me what you found here again.
I have found deep secrets of the ancients. I have set them aside as they are not relevant to my personal quest. But I scent truth is not far.
Farewell.
May you find what you seek.
So, which one are we in? Does it even tell me which one I'm in? I mean, I know I'm in one... Okay, yeah, it does tell me. I'm in 1112, of course, because that's the one I wanted to go to, but... What is this thing?
Yes.
Stubborn as death, not nearly as tall, though. Mia Aaron.
Of course we can help. Right, Al?
Hans Christian Nenseth.
Ready.
Vengeance Monan. Nick Martell.
Yes.
Goldry Blizko.
Here we go then.
Hold on. Let's say I press one of the buttons with an arrow on it. The outer 6 glowing buttons frame the inner segments, one button aligned with each side of a hexagon. Each one has an arrow etched into its surface, pointing outward. Press the top. Top left button with an arrow pointing up and to the left. As soon as you press the button, a field of energy surrounds you. You feel the same tight sucking sensation at your gut, and then... Is this 1111 again? It is. Okay. So... if I go up and to the left, where does this take me? Which one am I in now? 5555. I wonder if this is the last one. This is an easy way to find out. Oh, it has to be the last one, because the numbers only go 1 to 5. Okay, so there's really only like 5,500 of these. That's not that many, really. You could get through them all. Do you know how long that would take? Do you know how long it would take? So I'm in the last one.
Fine.
Tiberius
Trust and
Rose.
honesty are our bonds.
Dazarus Golmaron. Vanessa
Yes.
Smedley. James N. Potts.
Yes.
So down and to the right seems to advance you one number. Let's just see what happens if I keep going down and to the right. This should take me to 11111. Then if I do down and to the... Wait a minute. This is different. What the fuck? All you can tell about this man is that he is clothed in red robes, with a pipe in one hand and a staff in the other. Is he a weary traveler? A seeker of relics? Perhaps the pipe and staff are heirlooms from his ancestry. One thing is not in question, the look of disgust on his face.
You're an explorer. Let me guess. Tantalum sent you down here too, didn't he? Did he tell you to come find Hero? Well, you found me.
He scowls.
Tantalum, that Drig, that sodden Lackniber, that scabrous Tulk. Bet he does this to everyone. Sends them off on a wild chase with promises of deep and secret knowledge, and then laughs about it to himself.
What are you doing here?
I'm an explorer, relic hunter, theorist, and now apparently the man who missed his funding deadline with his investors because of a stupid prank by that craft-eater Tantalum.
You know Tantalum too?
Unfortunately, he huffs. I was looking for ways to tie together a theory about certain gravity-bending civilizations, but Tantalum diverted me by saying I'd find my answers if I read enough tombs. So yes, I know him, that bastard.
Tell me again why you believe Tantalum.
Why wouldn't I? What kind of skist-nasher waits at a place of historical significance in order to steer people wrong?
How many tombs have you read?
You ask Tantalum, not enough. He laughs. If you ask me, far too many.
Found anything in your explorations? Whoa! We're handing shit out. This isn't just conversation. There's loot in here, gentlemen. And ladies, if there are any ladies. There are people to talk to, and there is stuff to receive. How can I not go through all 5,555 of them? How can I not? You don't know how many of those have an encounter in them.
Craft, skist. In other words, precisely nothing.
Holds a finger up. But that's not precisely true. I found this worthless piece of junk in a tomb, doubtless dropped there by some other sap duped into Tantalum's errand. Worthless. Can't even break it down for shins. He tosses it to you. Here, a reminder not to listen to buffoons. I got a circulating Marecaster. Usable artifact. This isn't just junk. This is usable. And it's worth a lot of money. I don't know, this guy doesn't seem to understand the value of things. That's worth a shitload of shins, sir. Within the endless loop of this strange alembic, golden fluid froths, fumes, and then precipitates back into the boiling beaker where it began. You cannot quite trace the pathway this substance follows. It almost seems that it is not a liquid at all, but rather some kind of organism, endlessly and agonizingly transmuted within the unbreakable confines of the device. Saito says, well, really, it's only 2,775 cells. Or not even that, actually. Really? Really? How many is it? Do the math. Though I suppose I must admit to having learned something, he scowls. I've learned that death is inevitable, and that Tantalum is a fraud, and that my own death draws closer every second I waste on his foolish task. Have you found anything else? No, nothing except the truth that death creeps closer every moment, and that Tantalum is the instrument who brings it nearer with his stupid time-wasting stunts. Oh right, it only goes up to number 5, so it's not like if it was 0 to 9. Right. Okay. So what is it? Is that the actual number? 2,775? That's not bad. I mean, that will make this my longest playthrough of all time by the time I go through all of them. Nobody will watch that. Did you ever handle the combat from the mirrors? Hey, Tarawak, welcome back. Yeah, I did. I kicked those Abacos' ass. I did all the combats in Sega's Cliffs. Well, I didn't do all the combats. There was one combat in Sega's Cliffs that I didn't do, and that was fighting the Sticka. Because I made friends with the Sticka instead. But I did every other combat in Sega's Cliffs, I think. I mean, a couple of them I did and then reloaded my game. So in my actual save game, I didn't fight Quoro and his group because I talked him out of it. And in my actual save game, I didn't fight the Nycthemeron. But I did actually do the fights and then reload. But I actually, in my actual save game, I defeated the Abacoses from the mirror. No problem. Nothing except the truth that death creeps closer every moment. And that Tantalum is the instrument who brings it nearer with his stupid time-wasting stunts. Alright, farewell. If I ever see Tantalum again, I'll show him what these tombs are good for. I'll inter him myself. He puffs angrily on his pipe. You know what? I'm going to go find him right now. He strides away, realizes that you have spoken to him, and stops. He turns. My apologies. You're not to blame. Farewell yourself. Then he sweeps from the room. He jerks a thumb at the departing man. Fellow's got a good perspective on things. Show that cringing halfwit. Dude, we just got stuff, bro.
Ready.
And now we're gonna read about 8 Deer and Jacob Lee Antunes and Zilth, Raymond P. Thompson, the Vagabond Bhagavan, James Edward Johnson. I embraced fear and darkness to forge a path for those who followed, so that perhaps one day one of you will see the light. Walkiri. 625 tombs, you think? Oh. Well, shit. I got this then. We can go through them all tonight.
Ready.
5511. Hey, hold on. We have to do this in an orderly manner. We have to. We've done 111. We've done 1112, right? I think we have. Next up is 1113. Yeah, we did this one. Okay. Hold on. Circulating Mirrorcaster. Let's use this thing. Hold on, let's quick save. You withdraw the coiled Mirrorcaster from your belongings and weigh it in your hands. It is lighter than it appears. The liquid within calms at your touch. The mare contained within the device does not calm. It hisses and boils, filling your mind with small clawed shadows. A headache builds behind your eyes, but despite that, even because of it, you feel compelled to sink into it, to let it wash over you. Inspect the Mirrorcaster. The liquid within the tubes lies utterly still, no matter which way you tilt the contraption. Occasionally, a bubble pops against the glass, and something within the device shudders. Alright, we're going to enter a mirror. This will only be our second mirror. We just entered the one with Matt Kina earlier, way earlier. And now we get to enter another mirror, apparently, which is awesome, because mirrors are neat. The sunrise gives the sea a blazing golden sheen, and all the city, from the far harbor shanties to the splendid square just below you, basks in its light. The breeze blows fresh and brisk off the water. The song of night birds gives way to the chatter of clerks and touts, and your black-veined hands, twisted like talons, tremble on the windowsill. Behind you, men bicker about tests and shins, about a rot that has reached the heart and brain and cannot be cut out. Oh, this is cool. Mirrors are so awesome. You turn away from the window and face the men, just as the closest of them, a one-armed servant in sumptuous garb, cries that there must be more that can be done, whatever the cost. But the other, a chirurgeon, snaps back. I am no mountebank like Jilipa, flinging ciphers at the sick till there are no more shins to shake loose. It is not healing to stir false hope in those doomed to die. They break off their debate to look your way. You don't recognize them at all, but plainly they know you and expect you to speak. Apologize for my confusion. As you stammer out your confusion, the servant's eyes widen with understanding. He steps closer to you, and, in an almost tender gesture, he lifts a hand toward your face. His one hand, his one arm, his other side smoothly swaddled in silk. I am Cardogo, your grace. You know me. And without it quite being so, he is right. Even poisoned as your body is, it feels the flush of friendship. And this is Aram of the island. He has been treating your condition. Chirurgeon gives a slight nod, adding, My services are at an end, your grace. The roots have spread too far, too deep. What the wind sowed must now be reaped. Oh, the iron wind. This is somebody who's been affected by the iron wind. And what the hell's going on with the servant's left arm? My condition? Roots? The wind? two men share a quick, obvious glance, and your frail body quivers at the gesture. Cardigo draws closer. "The wind touched you, your grace." As he says it, his fingers dance as if unbidden upon the flat expanse of his maimed side. "The iron wind. What it touches, it changes. Seldom for the better. Your changing was slow. All these years you fought it. The doctors fought it. We fought it together." The Islander's voice has none of Cardogo's softness. "And now you have lost. You are leaving this life at last. All that remains is to decide whether you will do so properly." "What's wrong with your side, Cardogo?" Cardogo shakes his head. "You know, your grace. The wind changed me too when I sought to shield you from its touch. I failed you then as the doctors have failed you now." Perhaps he sees your eyes lingering upon his unbalanced body. "We both paid too high a price," your servant says, his voice breaking slightly. "I'm sorry." "It wasn't you who made the wind, your grace," Cardogo replies. "And it was I who begged you to go to the border march. I went freely, and freely did what was right. And you've given me better things than an apology." Then, as if ashamed at his outburst, your servant glances at the doctor. "I will try to bear the burden more lightly, your grace. You carry too heavy a load already." With a sharp smile, Aram answers, "Your grace will not bear that burden much longer." I'm going to ask the doctor to examine Cardogo. "No," the doctor says curtly. "I am not here to treat your servant. If you wish to retain me, to do so. You may call it my place of business." He looks at Cardogo. "He knows where to find me." Turning back to you, he adds, "As for you, the treatment is done." Aram gestures broadly at the ciphers, trophies, and treasures that adorn the walls. "Your life was full, but the hourglass is empty. Now you must rest for a while, then forever." The deep ache in your skull and spine, the ragged weakness of each breath, and all your body's other voices cry their confirmation of the doctor's words. "Then there are preparations to be made." The chirurgeon bows, plainly pleased that you have heard his words, then takes his leave. Cardogo watches him go, then turns your way. "There is work to be done, your grace, but you must rest. I will have the kitchen prepare your broth, and I will let your family know." He lingers a moment longer without saying why. What he wanted or awaited goes unspoken, and as he departs, a tremendous weariness overtakes you. Beyond the window, the sun has risen, and the sea is restored to old gray waves crashing on a sullied shore. Dude, these mirrors are so cool. They're like these whole other side stories that you just go into. The hours of rest have won you no strength, and the soup sits uneasily in your stomach. Cardogo dusts your face with rouge to hide its pallor, slides white gloves over your twisted hands, wraps you in a padded jacket that adds lost flesh, and masks the bulbous growths. He tucks and folds and buttons, and at last passes you a looking glass. In your trembling grasp it shows nothing more or less than rot and sickness. You look like a corpse prepared for funereal display. Cardogo has hidden nothing. He has merely framed your condition as a euphemism that others can bear. "They are waiting," he says, and he guides your chair forward. Your eyes flick across the drawing room, alighting on the vast map covering the far wall, the shining oddment of crystal and azure steel whirling in a corner, the shelves of ancient tomes, the writhing fire caged in the hearth. Then there are the men and women, young and old, all gazing unexpectantly, scores of stares you cannot meet in a sea of unfamiliar faces. On some, fear and desperation are naked. Other guests have done better in their concealment. A neatly groomed man in a neatly fitted officer's uniform sobs messily. He is the exception. I wonder if that's my son. Cardogo puts his hand on your shoulder and a hush falls. Your Grace, your family is gathered. You alone, he says. They await your words. I will try to ease their fears. They know you are dying. Your family may be strangers to you now, but anyone could see their fear, namely that they will fall with you, followers that they are. You must set them free. You speak of your weakness and their strength, of the darkness you face and the bright days ahead for them. You say that a family is, by definition, more than one member. Too soon your well-worn words run out, and Cardogo ushers the crowd from the room. The officer, however, insists on staying, and your servant at last relents. Oh, he's my nephew. Your Grace, your nephew Salvar begs a word. He withdraws a discreet distance. It's cool. Salvar has everything you've lost. Strength, beauty, vigor, and yet his haunted eyes, condemned eyes, are all too familiar. He bows, and thinking his face hidden, wipes it quickly with a handkerchief. As he rises, he kisses your gloved hands. Your Grace! His voice, for all its glorious tenor, quivers as if he is far weaker than he looks. You have given me so much, and now, as your end draws near, I hope at last to prove my worth. His harried eyes dart about as he gives his little speech. Something troubling you? False smile reveals brilliant teeth. No, not at all. I have discovered a wonderful opportunity, a mercantile venture in need of a leader, a man of precisely my skills, and a chance to purchase shares in the ongoing concern, preferred stock. He stutters, so he just wants to ask for money. Got it. He stutters slightly over the foreign vocabulary of business. I can make good on what you've given me, prove that your faith in me was wisdom. Smile crumbles. I just need a stake to buy in. He means shins, of course. Number 5, no. Just no. Tell me more about this venture. Salvar nods, too fast, too many times. It is not without danger. Physical danger, I mean, which is why they need a man who can swing a sword. He is interrupted by a cough from Cardogo. The venture? Ah, yes, well, it involves certain, saleable commodities that are in great demand in the oasis of Mrajolios. Strictly highest workmanship, of course, but sold here like, trinkets. So you see, exactly the sort of thing a sharp trader corners in the market, as they say. Sounds like you're being tricked. Salvar blanches. Ridiculous! That could not be farther from the truth. This is honest and good. His words race blindly ahead. This is a lucrative enterprise. Your servant sighs audibly. The dull ache behind your eyes, the claws in your spine, your nephew's absurd deception, all of it drags you downward. Why are you doing this? Salvar takes a step back, his eyes watering. I want to prove that everything you did for me, the schooling, the sport, my commission, these clothes, prove that it wasn't a waste. All my life I've had to pretend I deserved your love, your gifts, always knowing I didn't, always hearing others laughing behind their hands. He takes a ragged breath. Now I can prove you were right, prove I was worth it, prove it to myself. In the corner of your eye, you see Cardogo shaking his head. Your nephew holds your withered hand with his long, graceful fingers. Please, I just need help, one last time. Apologetically, unthinkingly, he adds, it needn't be this evening. There is time. I'll make sure you're provided for. Almost instantly, the fearful look leaves your nephew's eyes, and a beautiful serenity smooths his brow. Thank you. Thank you, he says softly. Then, with a champion's tenor, he vows, I will make you proud. Cardogo leads him from the room. When your servant returns, he shakes his head. You have showered that boy in shins, your grace, and shared the greater wealth in wisdom. To no avail. A person can always be changed. Cardogo flinches at your words, and the scorn falls from his face. After a moment's humble silence, he eases your chair back towards your suite. It has been a long day, your grace. You should rest. Soporific and anodyne mist brought by Cardogo dulls the daggers that stab your nerves. Soon, sweet oblivion settles over you. Oh, it's not over. This is a mare, Saito. There are these things in the game called mares, where basically you use a thing called a marecaster to go back in time with your consciousness to some previous period in time and space, and you relive it. And the one that I did before, I actually changed the past by making different choices as I was in the role of another person, by making different choices than the person originally had. I don't know if this one will change the past or not, but this is the guy that I just met here in the thing gave me a Mirrorcaster that had this thing in it. So I'm back in time in some other person, completely unrelated to me, making decisions for them as is some rich person that's been afflicted by the Iron Wind and is dying, making their decisions before they die. Apparently there's a bunch of these in the game. This is only the second one that I've seen so far. You awaken in the dark night with the certainty that you are not alone. Your uneven heartbeat races and your rot-riddled eyes strive to find an intruder. Who's there? You hiss. A shadow sits at the foot of your bed, illuminated by the false fire glow of a cipher around her wrist. As your eyes adjust, her face becomes faintly visible. You recognize her from the gathering. She was at the back of the drawing room and she left before anyone else. Casca, she answers, identifying herself. Though by now she knows you've seen her. Or have you forgotten me entirely? Forgotten almost everything, it seems. You haven't forgotten to spoil Salvar, Casca scoffs. You haven't forgotten your three-legged lapdog. At the twist of a knob, the cipher on her wrist floods you with bright, blinding light. And you haven't forgotten to sleep in silk either, have you? Why are you so angry? I'm not angry, she says in a low, dangerous voice. I'm hungry. And I want what you've been feeding my sweet, soft, rotten cousin all these years. Your shins. Why should I give you my money? In the twilight, she gives a short, flat reply. As I've suffered. When I'm gone, you'll be provided for. Casca nods once without saying a word, then darkens the cipher on her wrist. Without its light, the room becomes completely black, utterly silent and empty except but for the whisper of her departure and the ever-present pain within you. Who the fuck is this guy? Weakness and throbbing pain are the morning's gifts, unblunted by the herbal broth Cardogo has brought. Death will not stop knocking. By the time the clocks cry out midday, a palsy has seized your left hand. Your servant gives you a relic to grip, some ancient creature locked in amber. It slips from your grasp and shatters on the floor. The beast flies away. At that moment, a caller is announced. Cardogo leaves and returns, visibly dismayed. The mendicant, your grace. Without awaiting an invitation, your visitor enters. A tall man, stiff and slender as a poker, finely dressed and bangled with ciphers. He glows with a confidant's confidence as he gives a half bow. Your grace. At a curt nod from the mendicant, Cardogo steps out. Your guest then sits beside you and takes your hand. I have heard, he says softly, naturally not from Cardogo, but your family cannot help but share their panic with the city. His eyes glisten with fathomless compassion, or at least a fine simulacrum of it. The hour against which you prepared for so long has come round at last, and they, who surely knew the day would come, are as unready as house pets. They have leaned on you greatly, but then so have I, and so have our children. It gestures to the leather portmanteau he has set at his feet. I am here to bring your plans to completion. Our children? The mendicant eyes you carefully, then gently nods. I know that a cloud has fallen on your mind. It would give me great joy to lift it. For many years your generosity has given new hope to the dispossessed and neglected children of this city. A long lifetime's worth of wealth has transformed what my hospice can provide. The lands alone, your old hunting preserves and the mouths they now feed, the wrecking field at Crefton, and the honest labor of gleaning its Numenera, the campus of the hospice itself, and all the lost souls it houses. As you insisted, no one knows of these gifts but us two and your solicitor. He smiles. Now I seek to drink the last dregs of your estate. No one knows. The mendicant nods. Naturally, they suspect. One cannot turn a pleasure garden into an orphanage without gossip. He shrugs. And it is hard to conceal anything from Cardogo. I fear that he doubts my sincerity. He pats the bag at his feet. In the end, of course, the truth will be known, and from high to low the city will admire your kindness. And it is on that kindness that I wish once more to impose. Why do you need more? The mendicant shakes his head sadly. Our world knows no end of need, Your Grace. There are so many children who have been betrayed and cast aside. With a great weary sigh, he says, there is one in particular who I wish to show you, if I may. He unhinges the portmanteau's clasp and begins to reach in. As if in response, the shaking in your hand grows stronger. Of course. From his bag, the mendicant takes a glass tube filled with a swarm of ants. Next comes rich parchment, which he lays upon your desk. With a deft motion, he pulls the cap from the tube and pours the ants onto the page. They skitter madly, but not aimlessly, oozing acids on the page until at last they've etched a flawless picture. Okay, drawing ants sound like a pretty fucking crazy thing. You see a young girl afflicted with almost unspeakable corruption, half her flesh a wilderness of misplaced parts and oozing sores. One of Cardogo's brood, the mendicant mutters. Most of them are killed at birth, by the whores if not by him. Unbidden, a strangled sound escapes you, and Cardogo bursts in. The mendicant slips out without another word. Hide the picture and say nothing? Mendicant told me about your children. Cardogo's face turns red with rage, and then, as he sees the formidograph of his daughter, shame. I see, whispers, turning away. Face hidden, voice low, he confesses. I was a man when Kaylee let me join you in the border march, and a monster when we wed. Her love never flinched. He begins to pace. Good man. She wanted a child, but I dared not burden her with another such as me. As he steps forward, black motes swirl in the space between you. Jalipa swore there was still some good in me, untouched by the wind, that could grow in my wife. He reaches out, but I had to know, for her sake. Before you can condemn or absolve, the fit comes and all else goes. Dude, this mirror has been going on for a long time. A long time. Although it hasn't had any skill checks in it, surprisingly. Unlike the last one we did, which had several skill checks. The darkness fades in part. The agony stays redoubled. Through a haze, you see your bedroom, and two men beside your bed. Cardogo is one. His hand is on your bony shoulder. His companion, proper in every punctilio, is another stranger. Your Grace. You barely hear Cardogo's voice. It is as if your ears are packed with wadding. I have brought your solicitor. The man sniffs. As you'll recall, Your Grace, you declined my offer to draft a will against this day. He speaks of mortgages and credit lines and accounts payable, wasting your last life on a lawyer's long-winded way of saying what little wealth you truly have left. Now you must tell me, how am I to dispose of the residuum? Provided as I promised, see that Salvar is funded, find Casca and let her buy a better life, establish a trust for Cardogo's children, bestow it upon the Mendicant's hospice, divide it evenly, bring Jalippa to me and have her do what she can to save me. Oh, it's a tough decision. Well, first of all, fuck Salvar, okay? Salvar ain't getting shit. Even though I did tell him he'd be taken care of. I told him that under the assumption that I had an ass load of money. Now that I know I don't have an ass load of money, fuck Salvar. Casca, I don't even know who she is. I don't even understand who she is in relation to my character here. Or what her suffering was or anything. Cardogo's children seem like it would be good to take care of. As with the Mendicant's hospice thing. I think I gotta go with Mendicant's hospice. I think that would do the most good for the most people, and wouldn't be based on personal attachments or I mean, I think this whole mirror seems to be about the gold tide, and I think the most golden thing to do is number 5. Divided as promised would be okay, except then nobody really gets shit, and it wouldn't really help any of them all that much. So we're going hospice. Sorry, Cardogo and Casca, and honestly, Salvar, you can kind of fuck yourself. You barely whisper the words, but as the final darkness creeps across your vision, you see from your servant's disgusted face and the solicitor's nod that you were heard. Your life's last short span stretches almost infinitely, and in it you see hospice and the many children in its care, not all thriving. It would be impossible to hope for so much, but all bettered by your bequest. Then the image fades and the darkness turns to golden waves lapping on the shore. Yeah, see, the very first paragraph of this thing had the word gold in it, and golden, and the last one too. I think that's like the subtle way of telling you it's a gold tide related mirror. Lapping on the shore and your long days are finally done. So that was pretty fucking cool.
Yes.
Hopefully we find more of those. Can I use it again? What happens if I use it again? The Mirrorcaster is quiet and unresponsive. It seems there's no way to access it again. So at this point it's just junk to sell. Okay. Alright. Well.
On it.
We're in 1112, so we're going to go to 1113. In our next episode. That's going to do it for this one, however. You're watching the stream. Don't go anywhere because I am not done playing. If you're watching on YouTube, this episode is now at its conclusion. So thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Torment, Tides of Numenera.